Okay, hello. How you doing? I need to mix up a little bit more paint, but while I'm doing that, I can pop up what I worked on yesterday. It's just two of the same essentially, but having uh, different heights of the stencil for the same like page, same animation happening, and it worked okay, but I had issue that I've had in general, which is that after the initial raise, or after the flush against the page sort of version, that every other version, the height difference is sort of, it's all acts very similarly. And so that's whatever issue. Sorry. Working and trying to talk at the same time, I end up doing a worse version of either. What I have now is today I'm working on a 3-color version of that same animation. Do I have... let's switch this one out for... Okay. This walk cycle, but it'll be separated into different sections with some of the paint and the airbrushing overlapping. So you'll have elements that mix the colors together, and I just want to see how that all ends up looking. So I have everything cut out. I also took a step in trying to fix the issue that I had before of the height being too great between each one, but I couldn't find, when I was looking online, easy access to, I always call it foam core, but foam board is what I've been seeing it listed as more often, where it has a polystyrene rigid foam that's wedged between two sheets of paper, and it's rigid and doesn't really bend all that much, but it's about 1/4 inch thick, and I was trying to figure out, I don't have anything that can easily cut a grid out of a single layer, I guess it's 2-layer, but plywood or other thin rigid materials, because plywood has a grain direction, and so it's easy to cut accurately in a straight line in one direction because you're just splitting the grains apart, but actually cutting through the grains is an annoying thing. So what I made was a series of 2... How are these? I have 2 sets of these guys, is essentially what I'm going to say. And this way I can create a grid, but I can do it in stages. So one of these, the stencil fits within the central area, where the cross section over here would have raised it up an additional level, and I didn't want to deal with making individual cuts along each of these sections, or having the support be just on the ends of the sliced bits of wood. So I have one that's one direction and one the other direction, and they sit in one another, and they can be layered. And then after that, I can just add these. But when I've tried doing these stencils and just have the corners supported up a little bit, I had issues where the pages sagged in the middle. So I need to have support distributed across the stencil, but I need it to be thinner. And so this is what I think should work. But first and foremost, what I need to do is just do this overlay, and I got to figure out what order I want to do. I think the cyan is the most opaque, so I might do that one first. It's also what I'm considering the darkest of the 3 colors, and then do magenta, and then do yellow. I think that's the best order, and I am going to try using this new grid support system that's made out of wood to see if the gradual change in height is better for this scale of stencil. So next stages of what I'm doing today, just right now, is setting up the workspace for the airbrush, bringing that out, getting my mask on, which I need to remember to do as I'm working, and then do the stages of heightening the stencil further from the page itself. I already have some paper prepped. I'm just doing it on standard 8.5 by 11 printer paper, but I'm curious how all of this color mixing will or won't work. I have something prepped out where I can do like a general preview of what things will look like, but I won't really know until I do it physically. So next stage is airbrush, prep space, and then starting off with cyan, then magenta, and then yellow will be the last color that I do. And move the mic out of the way. Not used to talking with the mask on. So that's blue. Next is going to be magenta, but before I can do that, I need to clean out like a little bit of the, just switch out the paint that is in the airbrush. So that'll take a sec.
Lonely times when I could not find a friend.
Okay, next color is magenta. I was having some moisture in the feed, so I needed to bleed the moisture trap. I think that's the terms that I need to say. But anyway, getting back on track. Time to clean out the brush again.
And the song that they were singing.
Okay, lastly is yellow.
Has to fall. 'cause the honey drips from your sweet lips when mind. I give you so
Okay, so now I'm gonna scan things, but before I get right to that, hello again. I'm also gonna clean my scanner bed just with a razor blade. Got a bunch of stuff on my desk at any given time that I'm like, this is the easiest and best way to do this, but sometimes it isn't. Or sometimes it's a workaround or something like that. Okay, scanning. Photoshop is open, so I'll open that up here. Turn the music down a little bit. And let's save this file. Come over to image capture. And let's get this whole thing. Scan 1200. Other destination. This isn't as subtle as I might have hoped, but I like seeing the mix of colors. I think having a true... I don't know what the darkest would end up being. Elements of things are present for the darkest sections, but really it's magenta, yellow, and then the cyan is sort of like out of the way. I think having a progression, I don't know what that would be. If it would be yellow, magenta, orange, cyan, purple, brown, I might just have to do more tests and make it a little bit softer of a degree of change. But what I do like is this has a much more subtle change of being blurred from one stage to the next. You can actually see a progression very clearly from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. That isn't 1 essentially to 4. Like if you're going from like 1% is flush against the paper, and 100 is like completely decimated. When I was using the foam board as the incremental height difference, it was like 1 to 70, or like 1 to at least 50. And then each one after that was like, or let's say it's like 1 to 80, and then 85, 90, 95, 100, where these are more like from 1 to 25 to 50 to 75. Like the last one is essentially what the first jump is for the other ones. I don't know what language to use with describing all of these, because there's stuff that it's similar to, but not stuff that it is. Like I keep saying out of focus, but these are entirely in focus. It's a flat plane, and I guess you could... Oop, that's not meant to be that. This should be 12,000, 9,000. I think I hit 90,000. Let me just start the scan. And copy all of this, save this. Oop. I need to merge this and then save it. Yeah, JPEG, and this is a line. And now I can open up the next one. Let's image rotation 180, so that I align these according to the same points on all of these. See how nice that soft change is? It almost makes the color shifts more apparent than when it's a cleaner edge. I'm not sure I would use these colors exactly, but it's colors I already have mixed and thinned. And they mix in a way that is apparent. I think if I were to organize this again, the yellow would just be yellow and magenta. It would be the orange. Or I would work within like the same general color family if I need to work flat. It's interesting. It'll look good when it's animated. I don't like the stills as much. Image rotation, 90 degrees clockwise. Adjust the size to be 12,000, 9,000. Save this out. Paste this in. So here you can see like just how it's a softer change. It's still pretty significant, but it's a lot softer than the difference for the previous iterations of things. And let's scan this last one. 4. Scan that. Save this. close that, open up the third one, and it'll take a while to save all these out just because all of this has been a lot more finicky since I updated. I really wish I had a little bit more of that cyan poking through, because I think it's a nice color. Still a learning process for me, mixing these colors. It's pretty on target. Slightly off, but it should still be good. See, there's a much softer progression than when I've done this other occasions. Scan 4. Yeah, look at that nice soft color that's in the mix here. You can see some of the individual little dots, but they're still pretty. Present. Okay, let's save this. That's done saving. I've had slightly better luck if I save the file, close Photoshop, and then open it back up. Preferences. Let's see if I can clear out any scratch discs or something.
I know this is part of my real
Okay, that finished saving. I'm going to quit Photoshop, open it back up. Open this file back up. It takes a second, but it seems like it saves time overall. Let's quit image capture. Anything else running that I don't need running right now? Pause this. Quit that. And let's open Photoshop back up. Never closed for you, but it closed for me. And let's open up the multicolor line file. and save these in order. I'm saving for web and devices, and it's old. It's not really practical anymore, but it does what I need, which is to save out a bunch of individual things according to a grid. Dun, dun. Very slow. Still trying to open. Sorry for wait. Okay. Just checking the disconnected, reconnected. I don't know what the timestamp is on that, but okay. Now let's save these out. Designs. Folder. Stills. Actually, don't need to do that. New folder. 01. Create. Title. Title of files. All user slices. Give this a moment. It'll probably be like another 10 minutes before I have any animations to present. Workflow. It just is easier and better to do this all of one action at once, and then all the next action, then the next and the next. This was not as slow with previous versions of Photoshop. It is a little bit faster, I think, having closed and reopened Photoshop, but it's still absurd how slow it is. It's still much faster than if I were to try and save these out individually. It's some other methodology, like copying each little bit. Also means that I can spray paint everything, or it is spraying paint, but airbrush everything simultaneously. Getting closer. This is the last that I need to save out the stills. And then I'll start layering and saving out animations. So you'll be able to see things, and I will be able to too. I will also be able to. think this could be like a 2-color thing. I like the way that cyan and magenta play with one another. The yellow is helpful in brightening things, but it's not my favorite color in this situation. Okay, don't need to save that. And let's load some files into a stack. Now's where you're gonna start seeing animations. Color stills, 1, select them all. Nice. Load these in. I have learned not to import them vertically. I don't know what it is, but it really slows stuff down. I just wanted to look at the textures. They're nice textures. I could scan at a higher resolution and get some interesting color sounding. Okay, use this action that resizes, creates frames, image rotation 9 degrees clockwise. Okay, this does work well. It's weird having the inconsistencies with the application, so it looks like the body is flashing. Much more for, I think, how the magenta was applied over the blue or the cyan than anything else. Okay, let's save this out. This is a GIF. For the video of this, I might end up adjusting the contrast of things. Okay. You know what? Actually, I would like to see what this looks like with a little bit darker of stuff. I think that's easier to see. Okay. Or is it? Yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm just comparing and contrasting things before I commit to saving out the animation as a GIF. From me to you. Alright, save this. This is going into a new folder, multicolor. This one. Save this out. And then you'll be able to see it on screen nice and clean for what I can provide. Just a moment. Let's go back over here. So that's that bit, but having these overlaps really helps with those little gaps. I think that's what it is. Why there's less gaps happening is because there's just more paint. Okay. I think if that front color was magenta and not yellow, it would be better. Be a little bit darker, a little less of a contrast, a little less candy corn looking. That orange and yellow is like bright, but yeah, so if it were, what if it were like, I could try switching the magenta and the yellow see what that looks like. But that would take some time to do, and I don't want to do it right now. Okay, next guys. Save all these GIFs out. I'm keeping that first file open so that I can copy over the curves layer. If it went yellow first and then magenta on top. I'm also curious what the layering, like order, how that affects everything. Because in its current state, I went sort of what was furthest back to furthest forward. The yellow probably wouldn't matter too much. Yeah, I'm just going to finish saving these all out. About done for today. Just going to show what these are, and then I'll do some additional work off stream. It's just like file management. Okay, here you can see like a clear progression of like chaos that is far more subtle than when I was using the foam board, foam core to increase it. Let's see if I can show like a difference in the thickness. See, so now I'm using the stuff on the right, the like plywood sheet. That's as thin as you can get plywood, I think, which is about 2 or 3 millimeters thick. And so one on the far right is about step 1 for using the foam core, where so like subsequential. Anyway, the next ones, if you were going in order, subsequent, they are that much greater a distance from the paper. Anyway, so this worked, and it's not my favorite color palette selection. I think that I could do a better job with figuring out color mix better. I don't know if that means just sort of doing it one-offs or what, but there you have it, and figured out a better method for more subtly increasing the distance and the shakiness of each bit. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just sort of talking and thinking at the same time, and as a result, I'm not thinking or talking all that clearly. But it's spiel time. If you want to buy stuff from me, you can go to my web store, traceloops.com/store. If you want to purchase something and have it shipped outside of the U.S., you can email me, traceloops@traceloops.com. You can also email me with comments, concerns, questions, curiosities, commissions, etc., etc. Again, that is traceloops@traceloops.com. If you want to watch this stream or other streams in full, you can do so by going to the live section of my YouTube channel. If you want to follow me on other platforms, you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, Spotify, all of those places. I am Traceloops, TRACELOOPS. If you want to support me on Patreon, you can do so by going to patreon.com/traceloops, where you will find high-resolution versions of artwork that I create during streams. You'll also find a selection of tutorials, and then at higher tiers, new songs from me weekdays, and at the highest tier, you get a monthly postcard from me with original artwork on the front, little message on the back, and a discount to that aforementioned web store. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and if you're anywhere in the Northeast I'm in New York, and it's weird right now with the smoke runoff from the wildfires up in Canada. It looks like it's about to pour down rain, but it's also foggy out. It's smog. Smoke and fog. Okay, I'm gonna head out. Have a good afternoon. Bye.